Hello everyone and welcome on De Papier de Rêve channel. I'm Ursula and today I will be painting with you a winter scene with snow and a plant. I have to warn you, this picture will be very abstract until the end, so if you want to have a look at my reference picture in order to have an idea of what I'm painting today, please check the blog post from today's video. You will understand a little bit better this picture. The link is in the description box just below as usual. I'm starting this painting with the darker color on this painting. I'm using Indigo for this darker color and I want to work the darker color first in order to have a better idea of where I'm going. It's not usually the case when you work with watercolor. You used to work with lighter color first and then add darker and darker color. But today I wanted to start with the dark because the dark is defining a little bit more this painting than the lighter color. Once my darker color are in place, I can work the rest of my painting, and for that I'm adding to the Indigo transparent red oxide that is a really warm red with an earth tone to it, and it makes beautiful brown mixed with Indigo, as you can see, and I can have quite a nice range of color with this mix. As you can see right now, this picture doesn't represent anything right now, but it will become a bit clearer with another layer on top of it. Right now the colors are mixing together, it's quite blurry and there is not a lot of definition to it, and also there is a lot of white just because it's a winter scene and there is a lot of snow, and as we do not have white with watercolor, I have to let a lot of paper white, and I am adding just a lot of shadows in the snow with a particular color that I will tell a little bit about a bit later. Once I'm satisfied with this first layer, I will let it dry before starting another layer. Now that my first layer is totally dry, you can see that there is not a lot to it, there is just blobs of color into it, and I need to add some definition to it for you to understand this painting. So I'm starting by defining some area of my painting by painting with negative painting techniques, and I'm making some dead flower appears on the paper. It will take a while for you to understand that, but it's coming along, trust me. And once again, I'm starting with the darker color first because I want to have a good idea of the contrast in this painting, and I'm still using Indigo for this darker color. I'm applying quite a lot of color and then I will blur some areas in order to have once again these hard edges and soft edges in the painting, because I think it's always a good thing to have this kind of contrast between soft and hard. It gives a lot of depth and it gives an idea also of impression and feeling into it. Once my darker colors are placed, I can add some colors into the vegetation, the foliage area, because right now the color is quite the same everywhere, but I want to add some darker flowers and some lighter area into it, so that there is a rhythm to it and it looks a little bit more natural. And for that I'm using always the same mix of transparent red oxide mixed with Indigo, and I just change and I put a little bit of transparent red oxide or a little bit of Indigo in order to have a warmer brown or a colder brown. I'm trying to make really random marks with my brush on my paper in order to be still quite abstract for now. I want this winter feel before anything else, so I'm working a lot with the color I have on hand to make this appear to you. So maybe I'm not being very realistic with this subject, but I think that the feeling and the ambience in this painting is really coming nicely. So the plant in my painting is quite warm with the uses of indigo and transparent red oxide, but you can see that the snow is really cold, and it's a very particular color I'm using today from Isaro. It's made from a pigment of ultramarine blue, but it had also some mica into it, so it's iridescent too. So I will let this painting dry, and I will come back a bit later and I will talk you through my supplies. For the brushes, I'm using an Escoda Último number 18, a Rosemary Co serie 39 half an inch, and a Raphaël petit gris 903 number 12. For the colors, I'm using Icy Lake, Indigo Blue, and transparent red oxide. And my paper today is from Arches in Rough. So for this painting I'm using just 3 colors, and they are not from a triad. There is no yellow into this painting, just 2 blue and a red. And it gives a lot of feeling for this painting. It makes this painting really particular, and you can see that it's winter, it's cold, and that's just what I want for this painting. I'm also working with rough paper, and if you follow me for quite a while, you know that I tend to prefer to work with hot press paper with no grain at all. But for this painting, as there is a lot of snow, there is also a lot of white on my paper, and I think that rough paper will add some texture to this, and it will be a little bit more interesting to work with a rough paper. And it's also a little bit easier because the colors are mixing a little bit easier, and there is a lot less risk of making watermarks with it. So for my last layer in this painting, I will add a lot of details into it. Right now I'm adding some texture into the flower so that you can understand there is a lot of tiny flowers here. And for that I'm using a brush that is a little bit strange. It's a dagger brush, and the long hair in this brush allows me to have some random marks on my paper, and it's particularly fit for this kind of painting, just because there is a lot of branches and foliage and vegetation, so having a brush with less control will help me to get these random marks and make this painting a little bit more natural. I'm still using the same mix of indigo and transparent red oxide for getting all the colors into these flowers or plants, and it's really a nice mix because I can get really darker color, but also some lighter colors that are quite interesting. I can have a really wide range of tones, and that's a really nice thing to have. Right now I'm adding a little bit more texture into the snow with this particular color that is Icy Lake. There is a lot of mica into it, and it makes a really nice color for snow because it will shine a little bit when you move the paper around, and I like that. I think it's a really nice color for snow. It's a perfect color for snow. And the indigo color is really beautiful too. It's a color from Isaro, which is a Belgian brand, and this particular color is made from several pigments, and they are dissociating from one another a little bit on the paper, so you have a nice range also of colors and variant of colors on the paper with this just one color. You can see at some area the indigo is a little bit more green, and some other area it's a little bit more blue and it's almost dark when I use a lot of pigment in my painting. And now this painting is really less abstract, I hope. You can see the tiny flowers, you can see some branches, there is a lot of texture into it, and I think that you can understand the snow, the winter, the cold in this painting. And this video is now ending. Thanks for watching and I hope you like it. Please check the blog post for more information about it and tell me what you think in the comment. See you soon.